Hi, I'm Tim,
I'm Lizzie.
and this is To Play,
Or not.
To Play, a show about board games for two players.
Whose tastes may differ.
Hello! Okay, so today we are doing a special request video. This is for one of our subscribers, basically asked in one of the comments of our top 10. He said, this looks like a great game, can you do a review on this one please? So this is for you, Neil Strange, thank you for asking. So guys, feel free to ask for any other games that we own in our collection, which is linked below. We can just do a quick review for you if we can find the time. Lockdown,
Lockdown.
maybe there's a few minutes. Okay, so this one is called Sagrada, and this is a 1 to 4 player game. This is by Floodgate Games. It's a dice rolling set collection puzzler kind of game. The idea with this is that you're basically trying to design the best stained glass window in the Sagrada Familia Cathedral in Barcelona, which is designed and built originally by Gaudi. Still being built apparently. They've not finished it over a couple of hundred years.
It's taking its time.
It's a big old project. And so the idea is that you're building the best stained glass window. So the way that this works is, again, we're reviewing this as a 2-player game.
First thing to say.
Yes.
It's so pretty.
It's very pretty.
It's so pretty.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, carry on.
That's okay. So yeah, the idea is that you both get a board, which is like a big stained glass window shape, and you get to slide in the bottom of this sort of blank area a card, which is your kind of target puzzle.
It's like a design.
Yeah, it is a design. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you select that by in a 2-player game. You each get given 2 cards from a shuffled deck of designs, and you select one and put the other one back, and then you choose a side, and the side is either 4 dots or 5 dots of difficulty. So obviously the more dots the more difficult. It might be 3 dots and 2 dots, whatever. Yeah, so so for instance, when we played a couple of days ago, just prior to reviewing this, we played a 4 and a 5 dot, didn't we? So yeah, so you select which side you're going to do. Obviously try and do the same each. So you've got 4 dots, you slide then that design into the big master sort of window, and you've got your target. And then you shuffle a deck of open objectives, and you deal the 3 of those out, and they're kind of public objectives, they're called, where you all can try and achieve that objective. Things like getting the most diagonals of one colour. So if you've got 3 purples in a diagonal row, that'd be 3 points.
Getting sets of 5 and 6 numbered dice.
Yep. So if you had a 5 and a 6, that would be usually
set.
like 2 points, isn't it? Yeah, 2 points for a set. So if you had a 5 and a 6 in any colour, that's 2 points. If you had another 5 and a 6, another 2 points. If you had another 5 and a 6, another 2 points.
We get it. The design itself has got restrictions, has it, as well? That you've got to follow.
Yeah. So basically, the design card itself is let's say it's all blank except for the ones that aren't blank, and they are things like a colour. There might be a purple or a blue or a yellow, so you have to put that colour dice there to populate that space. Or it might be a greyed out number. So for instance, it might be a greyed out 2. You have to put a 2 of any colour in that space. And there are certain restrictions, pretty basic restrictions on the initial laying of your tiles, on your dice. One is that you cannot place dice of the same number or colour next to each other. Adjacent. You can diagonally, but
You've
not
got
adjacent.
to start around the edge as well, haven't you?
You have to start around the edge, and then every dice you place has to be touching another dice, or adjacent to rather. So that's pretty much the restrictions, and then obviously you just carry on building your array as you go from there.
You've also got a private secret objective as well.
This was the next thing, yes. So you also get a private objective. Again, they're a deck. You shuffle that and get one of those each, and they're all the same but different colours, basically. So basically, all it is, if you've got a private objective of a green, then that is your private objective, to attain as many greens as you can, and then all the dice that are green, you add up those numbers at the end, and that's points for you. So for instance, if you had 3 dice that added up to 10, that'd be 10 points for you. So you want to get as many of your coloured dice in your secret objective and as many high numbers of those dice.
There's quite a few things to be thinking about
Oh,
at
yeah,
all
yeah,
times, isn't there?
Absolutely, yeah, very much. So you each get one of those, and like I say, they're all the same, but just different colours, so you don't know what colour each particular person's going for.
Yeah.
So you've got your public objectives, your private objectives, and then there's also a set of 3 cards that get dealt out, which are tools, and they're kind of meant to imitate like a chisel or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the idea is that you can kind of mitigate the dice roll. So the way the game plays is you take the bag, you dip your hand in the bag, and in a 2-player game you drag out 5 dice and roll them.
How many dice are in the bag?
It's 90 dice.
Testing you there.
Says so here, 90 translucent dice. But yeah, you dig your hand in, 5 dice, roll them, and then that is the draft pool for that go.
One round, yeah.
And player 1 goes first, chooses a dice, so it could be, I'm going to pick a green dice no matter what the number, or I'm going to pick a 2 no matter what the number, or I'll choose the best there. There might not be any green dice, for instance. So you select the best one that you can lay into your board, and you lay it according to the rules. And then the second player goes, they take a dice, lay it into theirs, and then they take a second dice, and then back to me, I take a dice. So it's player 1, player 2, player 2, player 1.
Try to even up who gets the best.
Yeah, you don't get
deal.
the best pick all the time.
Yeah,
if it was like a 4-player game, you play player 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. So
player 1 doesn't get the best pick every single time.
So you take your 1 dice, 1 dice, 1 dice, 1 dice, and it leaves another dice, and you take that dice and put it on a score chart, which is basically, it's like a time track, 1 to 10. When you've gone through the 10 rounds, that's the end of the game, and that's populated your whole board pretty much. So the other cards that are laid out, the tools, you can mitigate these dice. So the dice that are in the draft pool might not be one that you really, really want, but one of the tools could help you get the dice you really want. So for instance, say you want a red 6 and there's a red 5, there might be a tool that says you can add 1 pip or take 1 pip away from the dice. So I'll use that special power, and I'll use that 6 and take it to a 5, and whichever way around I said, 5 to a 6, whichever. And to gain that tool, you use one of your little translucent tokens. So you get 4 of those at the beginning of the game.
For a 4
Oh, sorry. It depends on the dots on the card. So if you've got a 4 dot card, it's 4 translucent tokens. If you've got a 5 dot card, it's 5 tokens. That's obviously because the 5 dot card is more difficult. More difficult to populate them, and so you get more of these tokens to use as the dice mitigation. Yeah, so so you pay one of your tokens to do this sort of dice change, place it in your board. Now the first time anybody uses that tool, 1 token. The second time and then on for that tool is 2 tokens. So it's cheaper the first time you get there, and then a little bit more expensive any person after that. But every time you take the first action on any of those 3 tools, you get it for 1. But it might not be useful until later on in the game, of course, when you're starting to struggle.
We get them until we start to think,
well, a good way into the game, when you're really thinking, oh, none of those dice are really going to fit in this board, because it does get really quite tight really quickly, doesn't it? And you basically just go backwards and forwards. Sorry.
I know a way how you can lose dice, because I came a copper, didn't I? Yeah,
I mean, you should be able to place dice and just carry on.
But sometimes.
But if you do make a mistake, if you do make a mistake, so for instance, if you put.
Do you know what it was? I was trying to make my blue diagonals. Yeah. And I was concentrating on my blue diagonals, and I put a blue 2 next diagonally from my blue 5. So yes, 2 diagonals. Yeah. Didn't realise, or just didn't see that next to my blue 2 was a greyed out 2.
So you had to place a 2 there.
So I had to put a 2 there. Sorry.
Which you did.
Which I did, and then there's 2 2s.
And then I noticed, so basically if somebody notices you've made a mistake, you just say, mistake, and you have to take one of those dice, the offender's choice, basically. They have to take a dice and throw it back in the bag, so they lose a go.
So I had an empty space, basically, because you get 10 rounds, and you get 2 dice each, so that's 20 dice.
Yeah, so 10 rounds fills your board if you can, pretty much.
I think in the last round, I couldn't fit the dice in, because it wasn't matching.
There were no tools left.
I had 2 spaces left at the end of the whole game.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so if you can't go, you don't have to go.
Well, if you can't go, you
can't go. That's right. So so you just keep going backwards and forwards until you finish the 10 rounds, and your board hopefully is fully populated. If it's not, that's the name of the game pretty much. Yep. And then you flip over the time track board, and there's a scoreboard on the back of that, and basically you just score for all your achieved objectives, so whether they're public or private. So if you've got a couple of sets of if it says get sets of 2s and 3s, if you've got sets and 2s and 3s and you score those 2, 4, 6, 8, bang.
How many greens you said? Like your secret objective? How many
yeah,
greens?
your secret objective is, you know,
the sum
like
of them, wasn't it?
Yeah, the sum of all the pips showing on your colour. I did quite well in that, actually, when we played this last game before this.
I actually didn't realise it was the sum of the dice.
You just
I thought it was how many collect as many purple dice as you can, no matter what the number on them. So I had like purple 2s, purple 1s.
Got to read those things.
Yeah.
But yeah, and basically just you check up all your scores on all your objectives, and the one with the most points wins. You do lose points if you've got blank spaces, so 1 point for each blank space, and you gain a point if you've got any of your clear tokens.
I used all mine up.
Yeah,
you had one left.
I had one left. So.
You basically ripped my arse in this game.
I did, yeah. But yeah, so that's pretty much the way the game plays. It's very sweet, very simple, very easy.
Very satisfying when you get your right dice in there.
It's quite tricksy as time goes by and you start filling out your board a bit more. It does get a little bit tricky.
It's relaxing and also tricky as well.
Relaxing, taxing.
Relaxing, taxing.
Yeah, good phrase.
Nice, like if it's cold out, like it's snowing right now. You know, it's snuggly game to play in the afternoon.
I'm off.
You know, it's like a nice. Let's just stay in the warm.
Yeah, it is a really nice tactile sort of game, and I love that plunging your hand in the bag thing and getting out of the dice. That's lovely.
Yeah,
it's a really nice.
Gem.
Yeah, it's a really sweet. It's a really nice. It's a really nice game to play. Definitely, and it does play 1 to 4, so you can actually play it as a single player as well as a little puzzle game for yourself. But yeah, really nice game. Really enjoyed this one. This one's in both of our top 10s, actually, if you saw that video. So this is probably going to score quite high. Let's go for the scores.
It must be a good game if it meets us both in the middle.
Yeah, absolutely right.
We've got
yeah,
different tastes in games, but it's both in our top 10s.
Yeah, so go on and score it. This is your game, really, isn't it? You like this one?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. This is 8 out of 10 for
8
me.
out of 10?
It's up there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I think... Yeah, I'm 8.
You 8 as
I'm
well?
8. Yeah, I think so.
It's a good one. And it's so pretty.
You got this higher in your top 10 than me, but I do really like it.
Yeah.
And it gets an 8 from me. I mean, some of my top 10s are 8.5, 9s, 9.5. So this is not as high in my top 10, but it's a good 8 of a game. Yeah, definitely. So 16 between the two of us. That's really that's our highest.
That might be,
I think it is,
Most of them are 14 or so,
Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah. So way better than average. We both really like it. It's a really nice Sunday afternoon game.
No matter what your tastes are in games, whether you just like Monopoly or whether you like full-on intense games like you.
Yeah, this is
still
quite good.
Fun.
Yeah, and it is about half an hour.
What's the age range as well? Age 13 plus. Yeah, I think young kids could play it too.
Yeah, nice, good game. Very satisfying.
And it's so pretty.
Stop saying that. But it is. Thanks, Neil Strange. Was it Neil Strange for asking us to do this one? Really appreciate that. We enjoyed it. Yeah. So if anybody else wants a specific game review, please just ask us in the comments below and we'll try and do that for you. Until the next time, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.